Contractors that we talk to all the time are they're inundated with work, right? They are inundated with having to deal with selling these things, selling the projects. They're inundated with setting up appointments. They're inundated with dealing with, holiday vacation time, with people going off, off into the ether, people ghosting them, people not wanting to work for whatever reason. There's so much on their plates, and it's not just turkey and gravy. I mean, it's like real stuff,
Yes.
And so today we're going to talk a little bit about like how automation can help you really, really get all of that stuff off of your plate so you can focus on what you're good at, right? And everyone's good at different things. Some people are good at putting roofs on things and on houses, and some people are good at selling, and some people are good at office management, but you can't focus on those things if you're just way too busy, right?
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, and I think you even touched on it, business hours for a small business, they don't exist. Your business is open 24/7. And especially moving into the holidays when we're going to see people's, hopefully, but their boilers maybe break, their heating systems break, and they're going to need contractors on call. It's important that you have, as a contractor, the ability to make sure you're scheduling those homeowners in a timely manner and getting back to them. Or else, they're just going to go on Yelp, unfortunately, and look for the next plumber, the next HVAC company, which might not have the same level of quality of service, et cetera.
Yeah, honestly. And for me personally, if I'm hosting for Christmas this year and something goes wrong, I need to know someone's going to be there. And trying to hunt, I mean, honestly, we talk about speed to lead on this episode. We talk about it a lot, but literally the first person to answer the phone has a way higher chance of being able to close a deal, right?
Fully.
And what if you didn't have to pick up the phone? Somebody could just set up an appointment right on your website, that's like totally like game changer for you if you don't have that. So, today we're going to be talking to Ray Clark. He's a co-founder of Schedule Engine. We're going to talk about automation. We're going to talk about removing barriers from your customers, how to achieve the growth that that you can. Because we all know that we can do better, right? I know I could do better. Sarah's pretty perfect, so I don't know, but most of us, I know that we can probably do better. So, anyway, here's our conversation with Ray, and hope you enjoy. Hey, Ray, thank you so much for joining us today. We are so excited to have you on to learn more about Schedule Engine and learn more about what we need to do to get these leads converted and smiling by the end of the appointment process, and all the cool integrations that you guys have. But before we get into all of the cool stuff, let's learn about the cool guy, Ray. Tell us a little bit about yourself and Schedule Engine and what you guys are up to.
Too kind. Dago, Sarah, thank you both so much for having us on. Wouldn't be here without our amazing team. So Stephen Crouch on our biz dev team, shout out. Laura and Liza on our amazing marketing team. Thanks for the cool guy intro. I'll do my best to live up to the hype, but I cannot make promises. Ray Clark, technically VP of Sales and founding team member of Schedule Engine. The year was 2016. A gentleman, Austin Haller, Eddie McFarlane, convinced me to leave Carrier Corporation. So I started on the manufacturer OEM side and believed in the Schedule Engine vision from day one. That was 2016. And we are still here and still just getting started in 2021, soon to be 2022. East Coast, New Jersey, as I joked before, if I say coffee, bagel, or water, you'll wonder where the heck I'm from. So that is East Coast, New York, New Jersey area, born and raised out here, engineer by trade, love problem solving, studied chemical engineering, went over to the manufacturer side. And then I kind of got my niche in technical sales, got exposed to the world of professional sales. And I just love it. I'm super passionate about helping contractors, spreading ideas that can make their life easier, and ultimately helping grow and build out our sales team at Schedule Engine. So that's me. That's pretty much everything you need to know about me, Dago.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Ray. And I share the same East Coast energy So I'm not sure if I say bagel is weird though. I think I'm from Connecticut and I don't know if we have that same, I don't want to use the word twang, but I feel like it might be twang.
So I've never told or I've never caught myself saying it weird. I'm usually told by others. So again, well, we will see. We will see. But twang's a good word for it.
That makes sense. And I know, at Schedule Engine, you guys are working with, hundreds and hundreds of contractors. And when you're working with these companies, what are some clues that you think that contractors should be looking out for, within their lead to appointment pipeline? What are some things that they can see that might be actually working against them instead of for them? And how can they correct that? A good example of this would be if they're looking at their pipeline and they're seeing, we're not confirming appointments for 3 days. That could be a good example. But what are some red flags that contractors should look out for in their lead to appointment pipeline?
Yeah, it's a great question, Sarah. I think first off, where I always love to start the conversation, online booking is such a universal term. And I think when you think about our industry, home services, right, which can mean from roofing, heating and cooling, plumbing, right? So it's a massive industry, but online bookings had such a loose definition. And for most contractors, right, they might think, hey, if I have a form fill on my website, or if I'm getting sent leads from partners, they might equate that to online booking. But if you're a call center, right, people that are answering the phones, helping book appointments, if they still have to take action on that lead, call them back, play phone tag, right? That's not online booking by definition. So leads are great, don't get me wrong. But in today's world, 2021, why add friction? And if there's really easy ways to get booked appointments into your system, that's as close to revenue as possible, right? And I think we can all understand the efficiencies there. So to your question, right? When you think about simplifying that lead funnel, there are amazing companies, digital marketing partners out there that understand the SEO, SEM game, like how to drive leads, where leads come from. And again, we are not experts there at Schedule Engine, but we have some great partnerships with companies like Rhino, Strategic Solutions, you name it. So leads can come from everywhere. Now, when leads come to contractors, I would ask this question to any contractor. When you talk about a red flag, can your customers book appointment or do business with you without talking to your team during business hours, right? And that's kind of usually the first lapse in that funnel. If everything you're doing, your brand, your website, right, you're crushing financing options and you're getting customers in the door, at the end of the day, if the only avenue to do business with your company, with Ray Clark Heating and Cooling, is that I have to get one of my call center CSRs on the phone with that customer during business hours, there's just a lot of inherent friction right there, right? I think about myself, death by Zoom meeting. I'm getting to my personal to-do list at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. When it is at night, I don't always want to pick up the phone. I might want to text, I might want to chat. So that's kind of the first thing I would do when you talk about a red flag. Go to your website, look at your business in the mirror and say, is the only avenue picking up the phone during when my team's in the office? And if the answer is yes, that's probably the first big flag that you'd want to look at. Okay, in 2021, I probably need to evaluate and offer additional options for my customers and my future customers to hopefully book and schedule appointments with me.
No, I think that's so true. And I think a lot about people who work full-time, right? Like let's say your central AC system goes out, but you work full-time, you can't pick up the phone and call, an HVAC company in the middle of the day because you're working. So a lot of these people, I think about my parents growing up, they try to reach out to contractors at, 6 or 7 when they get off work for the day, but they're getting a voicemail. And then sure, the contractor calls back the next morning, but they're already at work. And so whoever is going to be the company who's most accommodating to even speaking with them and scheduling that appointment ultimately will get that business. So allowing the flexibility of booking options and just reaching someone off hours is so important. I couldn't agree more.
It's speed to lead, right? And you all would know better than us at Schedule Engine in the financing world, but we typically live in an on-demand industry. Remodeling might be a little bit different, but at the end of the day, most homeowners don't sit down and make a 5-year plan and anticipate that furnace repair or that remodeling project that sprung up during the pandemic, right? We're typically in an on-demand industry. Things break, they need to be fixed. And as consumers, younger demographic, homeowners new to new cities, right? Moving from the East Coast down to Austin, what you want to know is you are taken care of as a consumer And that instant gratification is key. I mean, I moved into a new home about a year ago at this time, came with a sprinkler system, which was great. Sprinkler system was broken. And for weeks, I was trying to get a sprinkler company on the phone. Didn't have time, was playing phone tag during business hours, was getting phone calls from numbers I didn't know. So I was giving them a double click going to spam. And ultimately, right, it was one company texted me, and the company that was the easiest for me, the most convenient, was the one that got my business. And as consumers, there's a lot of statistics out there that say consumers care more about convenience than price or product a lot of times, right? I know I order food online probably way too much, and I willingly pay a delivery fee that's probably double the cost of the food because it's so freaking convenient and it goes right to my doorstep, right? And I think if we can really understand that consumer behavior and the importance of convenience, whether that's, again, financing options with the contractor, that's scheduling the follow-up appointment, those companies will win.
No, I agree. And I think something that you said earlier that really stuck with me is removing barriers out of the homeowner's way, making it as easy as possible for these homeowners to choose your HVAC company, choose your plumbing company, and giving them options, whether it be options for booking, options for taking phone calls, financing options, but giving them choice is vital.
That it's funny you bring up that the texting thing, because we tell our contractors, you may have dozens, hundreds of unread emails, but we bet that your texts are all read. And it's, it's one of those things where you start to the sooner you start to understand consumer behavior and you can react to it, the better off for your business. So this kind of leads me to our next question. But you have experience in the contracting industry. But what would you say to someone who's looking to grow their business from maybe like a 1 to 3 person operation to something that they can almost like set and forget, right? Like that growth where it's just like, you know what, I got like an office going, like I can focus on bigger things, bigger picture stuff. Like, what advice would you give to someone who is trying to reach that growth? How fast or how slow may depend on how effective they are at implementing some of this stuff. But, what is some of the core advice you'd give someone?
That is a beautiful question. So as a preface for anyone listening, at Schedule Engine, we have partners we work with that are one truck owner operator, from 2 or 3 trucks to 10 to hundreds of trucks, right? And I think the beautiful thing about our position is our solutions are super nimble. They can be what contractors want them to be. And when we started, we really attacked that online scheduling area. So as I mentioned before, your lead funnel, hopefully most contractors have a digital marketing partner in-house or externally they're working with to drive leads. And usually they need to get those leads into a CRM type system, a service type in-house call Pro, right? There's a lot of systems out there, and Schedule Engine exists in the middle, right? So we started with online booking, easily plug into a contractor's website, Sarah Heating and Cooling, and that way those leads can turn directly to booked appointments without your CSRs needing to lift a finger, and keeping your team in complete control. With that, right, and especially to your question, Dago, about the smaller contractors, we have to ask, what does each contractor care about? And while that answer could be different, generally speaking, what we hear from a lot of smaller contractors is, listen, especially in peak seasons like summer, I don't necessarily need more appointments. I need to take pressure off my team. I'm in an attic, calls are coming to my hip, I can't answer that. And that's missed customers, missed dollars, missed opportunities. So when you think about the benefits of online booking, for some contractors, sometimes bigger companies, they really might want that as a revenue mechanism to book more appointments, market it, use QR codes, and do a lot of really cool marketing things. But a lot of times for smaller companies, right, they really resonate with taking pressure off their team. And 10 or 15 years ago, guess what? You want to do more business, you got to hire more people to answer the phones. And we cannot be thinking that that's a solution today, right? We need people to answer the phones. Customers and certain demographic will always want to call in for that personal touch, but increasingly consumers look for more options. So why try to hire more people to answer the phone in summer when fall comes, demand goes, and you don't want to have to let those off, or that challenge of ramping your call center can be tough. So at Schedule Engine, really over the past year or two, in addition to online booking, we started offering live services. We have an industry trained team at Schedule Engine located in North America that can answer web chats 24/7 on behalf of contractors, web chat or text when their team can't get to it, or during business overflow or after hours, it can route to our call center. We're industry trained, we're proudly represent your brand. And through a lot of our integrations and our core online booking solutions, we don't just say at 10 o'clock at night, hey, Dago, thanks for chatting with us for 5 minutes. You got to call us back at 8 a.m. the next morning. It's like, I just wasted my time for that. We could say, hey, great, we're actually going to book the appointment in our system. You are taken care of. It is off your to-do list. So my long ramble to suffice in summary, for the smaller contractors, we've really seen our expansion to some of those live services, not only just helping them book appointments, but being there to answer chats, answer phone calls when their team can't during the day, or after hours when their team goes home, to really protect their technicians, protect their call center, and allow them to hopefully grow and scale a little bit more efficiently than just, again, trying to throw manpower to answer more phone calls.
I totally I love that response, because there's so much going on right now in the market with like how much it takes to hire someone nowadays, to like do the job, and just the old business problem of like managing HR stuff, files, like all of the things that go into running your business, and the idea that like that automation can take hundreds of hours of work off of your plate, so you can go and do the things that make your business grow, like actually installing projects, actually selling more jobs. That is, I think that should be music to anyone's ears. Sarah, were you going to say something? I feel like I interrupted. I'm so sorry.
No, you're totally fine. I actually was going to say the exact same thing, especially when you're looking. We just did a really interesting survey actually, where we asked the contractors in our network, what are some of the biggest problems and issues facing your business moving into 2022? And without a doubt, the largest one was hiring and onboarding and finding people. And I think something that you said that's so true is having to train seasonal workers for contractors to answer the phone is such a nightmare. So many contractors I talk to, it happens every single year. They get busy during the summer, they hire someone in-house, and then come November, they're like, oh, now I've got this, this person in-house who's only answering 2 calls a week. Right. I don't want to be paying them, $40,000 a year. And I think contractors, and something we talk a lot about this podcast, is finding ways to delegate within your business so you can focus on what you're really good at. And I think the contractors that we work with are so proud and have built these incredible businesses because they're fantastic craftsmen. They're so good at executing what they do, but they're not always the best at letting go of the pieces of the business that they don't always excel at: answering the phone, booking appointments. So allowing contractors to have technology and access to areas where subject matter experts can come in and fulfill that is so, so important. And I know you touched, sorry.
I was going to say, but a little bit about that. The point that you just made is that like, when you automate and you work with a company to like get these, these tools in place, you do still have control, right? Like you feel the disconnect is like a little bit less intense because you have access to the dashboard. Companies like Schedule Engine, Hearth, some of our partners, they give you the analytics so you can go and see like how things are running. And so there isn't that big of it feels like it doesn't feel like you're deep diving into a pool. It more or less feels like you're just kind of putting a foot on that first step, right? And they're like, oh, okay, this works. I can do this.
And we did a presentation at Service World Expo, which is a big industry conference. And we actually, because we've been in the market for a few years now. We have a lot of great, partners, some of the biggest and best contractors in the industry. We did a presentation on the 3 biggest myths we hear. And one of the biggest ones you just hit on, Dago, was when you think about online booking, contractors fear they can't control it. And for anyone listening, I haven't explicitly said that, but that was one thing we really needed to solve for with Schedule Engine, right? Our industry, we're not dentists where every appointment, your customer comes to you. A teeth cleaning's 30 minutes, hopefully, and you move on, right? When you dispatch field labor into homes, and you can be in 3 to 5 visits a day, and technician skill sets vary. There's so many things that can go wrong, and that scheduling is so much more complicated. So contractors a lot of times mistakenly think, oh my God, Schedule Engine is just going to give homeowners control of my calendar, and my dispatch board is going to be chaos. And that is absolutely the farthest thing from the truth. And one of the really cool things we did coming from the industry. So our founder, Austin Haller, really incubated Schedule Engine. He's second generation. We made sure that in our online booking flow, whether it's a homeowner or consumer going to Sarah Heating and Cooling to book their own appointment self-service, whether they're chatting with one of our industry trained team members, or they call in after hours and they're chatting with one of our industry trained team members over the phone, we really emulate and we ask similar questions, the same questions one of their CSRs would ask over the phone to understand the right issue, the location of the customer, so we can communicate back proper availability and make sure, again, we can filter using all those variables that call centers do today. So it's a really important point. And again, contractors fear with online booking, they can't control it. And knock on wood, right? That's one of the things we've been able to solve for at Schedule Engine to meet that need for customer experience. But as businesses, right, keep them in control of their dispatch board.
Totally. And I think that could be said about really any technology that comes in and helps contractors grow their business and win more revenue. It's that we're a partner with you in this. We want to provide you the transparency and the insight that you need in the tool that we're building for you so that you can go and be more successful. Because ultimately, whether it's Schedule Engine, Hearth, really any tool, we're going to be successful as a business when you go out and you close more business and you're seeing additional revenue, you're able to finance more jobs, et cetera. And you touched on it a little bit, but I'd love to hear more about it because I, as someone who comes from kind of the lead generation world, know the value of a call center and having someone who can call leads, help homeowners book appointments right away. When you're kind of looking and talking with contractors who don't maybe have someone in the office 24/7 right now, what's really the value of having someone that your customers can either speak to or, a live chat representative? What's the value in having someone on call 24/7?
Absolutely. So you hit a big piece earlier, which is our industry has a hiring problem. It really started as technicians, but one of the biggest things we've been hearing over the past year or two is it's not just technicians, it's my call center too, and finding quality, talent that can help answer the phones, proudly represent my brand, and I have to train them. And I love to always isolate, like asking a contractor, if I'm a homeowner, it's 10 p.m. at night, and right, your CSR team's home for the day. If I try to book an appointment with you, like what would happen? On one hand, I would submit a contact us form that would probably sit in an email distribution list inbox overnight. It's 8 a.m. the next morning before your CSR comes in. Phones are already ringing off the hook. The chances of converting that lead overnight to a booked appointment exponentially drops, right? Some contractors have chat, and there's a lot of great services where you could put a little widget on the site. The only problem is sometimes those chats route back to your team. The amount of owners we talk to, they're like, yeah, well, we have chat. Well, who's answering? Usually it comes to my phone at 10 o'clock at night. I try to get back promptly. Sometimes I miss them. We're like, what if we could take that off your plate, right? And maybe during business hours when your team's in the office, you have a designated team member to answer chats. That's great. But what about those after hours where there's gaps in service? An industry trained partner like Schedule Engine, low hanging fruit to clean up. Or again, if I'm that homeowner, 10 o'clock, I call in. Oftentimes I might deal with an answering service and whatnot. And again, that's a message that's typically getting left unread. So to your point, Sarah, we're hopeful that with Schedule Engine, whatever the avenue, whether it's again, replacing a form fill with an online booking, just because it's 10 o'clock at night, it might not be an emergency. I just don't want to talk to anyone after a long day. I want to go on my phone, go to Sarah Heating and Cooling and pick an appointment for tomorrow, the next day, just cross it off my list. Maybe I want to chat in. And if I don't get a response in 5 seconds, I'm probably out. So again, don't burden the owner to try to at 10 o'clock at night step away from their family to still be working. But our team, I think an average response time is 5 or 6 seconds when our team at Schedule Engine can handle chats for a contractor. Or again, that call can be routed after hours to our team. Similar SLAs for quick response times, proudly represent the brand, book the appointment. I think on weekends, on average, 40% of calls go unanswered on weekends, which is a crazy statistic. We've actually been seeing, even in what I'll call the shoulder season, I know in the Northeast, we're still not kind of in peak winter. It's getting colder, but we're still a little bit in shoulder season. We see contractors, even during business hours in shoulder season, missing 5 to 10% of their calls during the day, right? So on that fourth or fifth ring, instead of the homeowner hanging up and going to contractor B, C, and D, that can route over to our team. We can get that call booked for you in your system, And as contractors, hopefully, right, once they get that appointment scheduled, that's where their technician can proudly represent the brand. Upon close, they can use financing options like Hearth, right, to continue to create those pivotal peak experiences throughout the customer journey. So hopefully I answered your question.
No, you did. And I think something that I didn't even think about until you just said it is representing the brand, especially in that first conversation. There's a huge difference when a homeowner goes on a website, they online book, maybe they have questions. So they call Schedule Engine, you guys reach out to them and they're able to consult with them. They're a friendly sounding voice, at 9:30 at night, they're knowledgeable about the brand versus maybe you get a call from some sketchy number, or you're getting a call from the owner, but he's tired. So, he may not sound as engaging as maybe someone who's ready. And it's like, that makes such a huge difference because that's their first interaction with you. That's the first kind of feeling they're getting about your company before your technician even steps foot. So it's like the importance of those first, 10 seconds of that initial conversation can't be overstated, really.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we keep talking about this survey we've done recently, and hopefully we'll get to share some.
I know you're teasing me. I want to see it.
But, we're working on it. It's just finishing up. I don't know if I'm supposed to be. We're supposed to tell anyone, Sarah. I don't know. But anyway,
DC live podcast recording.
Yeah. I'm just gonna that part. No, I'm just kidding. But the thing that really stood out to me in these preliminary answers that we're seeing is like referral business is still such a big part of this lead generation for these businesses. And when you get into the branding aspect of your business and and of course customer experience is part of your brand, the more that you can give your customer the peace of mind that things are taken care of, that they're taken care of, that you care about them and you care about their project, and make them feel like that their project is the only project on your books, the more they're going to refer you word of mouth to others around them, right? Because I've had a great HVAC experience recently, and I've been telling everyone, "Oh, this guy's great. He's got like a cool accent. He comes to my house. He just talks about whatever. He knows exactly what's going on. He's awesome." And but it's so interesting how like technology can still affect word of mouth referral business. That we're not just using technology and automation to take out the human element of things, but to enhance those human interactions, that we are taking better advantage of those human interactions. So like if I go and fix Sarah's roof, Sarah can be like, Doggo was the man. And I could book an appointment online. And he responded quickly and we just got the project rolling. My patio wasn't leaking in like 3 days, whatever. But anyway, I love how that kind of fills in the holes there.
My brain's just going right now, Doggo. So to that point, we were talking about this. I think Facebook has a technical name for this, but what's really cool when you think about technology and referrals, the Facebook, that kind of ask recommendations function now. Hey, does anyone have a recommended plumber in Colorado? And you'll see like hundreds of comments and stuff. So what we love to do is help contractors. Well, great, right? If your homeowners and your happy customers are posting, especially on social media and driving traffic, again, why add friction? We can create calls to actions right there in that post, links that will drive them directly from social media to book online, right? And just continue to collapse that customer journey to make it as frictionless as possible. And another thing we're starting to see, so instead of customers referring other customers, we have contractors, big names like Tommy Mello, A1 Garage Door, kind of in the Southwest. He's one of the biggest names in the garage door industry and really helped Schedule Engine get into that sector. What he does is he works and he incentivizes a lot of other local contractors like pest control businesses. And when a pest control company is on site and they might say, hey, Sarah, we were in your garage and we noticed that kind of rubber doorstop is eroding. And that's one of the biggest entry points. So we actually have a company we really trust and work a lot with, A1 Garage Door. Instead of just getting your contact info, going back to the office 4 hours later, getting that over to the A1 Garage Door team, we can give them kind of like a customized little landing page or website where that tech in the field, that salesperson in the field could say, hey, Sarah, so we trust this company. I did a good job with you. Let's just go ahead and book that appointment with A1 Garage Door while we're here. And now it's kind of like affiliate referral businesses. It's all tracked because it's online. And we've seen a lot of really cool things happening on that front. And I think that's going to continue to blow up for a lot of local businesses.
Yeah, the contracting industry. I mean, I've been in small business for like 7 years, but not specifically contracting. But in the last 7 months I've been at Hearth, I've learned that it's just so there's so much power in this community, and there's so much like support, and again, like giving people the tools to enhance those intrahuman, there you go, interpersonal interactions. I mean, I think that just goes a really long way to kind of again, like I said, like filling in the blanks, right? So not doing the 4 hour wait to call Sarah and be like, "Hey, I got this garage door thing for you, bud." But it's I don't know. I love it. I think it's great. I think there's so much potential in the industry right now because everyone has kind of caught on to that. Our contractors need these tools to be able to make their businesses grow. There's so much potential for everyone, and the more we go into 2022, I think we're all going to be developing these new tools and these new techniques and these new things that people really haven't thought of. So I'm super excited about the industry. I don't know about you guys.
I am pumped too. And to your point, the industry is massive. I mean, the contractors listening to this podcast are already 10 feet ahead of competition, right? If they're actively forwardly thinking and thinking about innovation and how they can better and grow their business, like you're already winning if you're listening to this podcast because there is so much out there. And I think with the innovation of technology, those companies that adopt, we're just going to see that gap grow. And those that adopt are going to climb, and leave the competition in the dust. And I heard this in the early days of Schedule Engine. I went to, I think it was like the Fast Company Innovation Festival in New York. And I heard the COO of Warby Parker speak, and I'll butcher the quote, but along the lines of the use of technology was, what we try to do is we try to help companies, or our philosophy and customer experiences, we try to automate what we deem lower value customer interactions so we can amplify the higher value experiences, right? And it's such a fallacy when people think of technology and depersonalization right now. Technology is not out there to step in between you and that personal customer experience. Hopefully, if you use it the right way, it's to automate lower value interactions so the team that you do have, right, can spend their time not scheduling monotonous, preventative maintenance tune-ups, just playing phone tag. But that team, right, can deal with the customers that want to speak with you, can follow up on open quotes, and can deal with customers that are going through emergencies, not leaving those high value clients on hold, right, for minutes or hours, unfortunately. So I love that quote. I'm starting to ramble, but that's always stuck with me. And I think it's super important when we think about technology.
No, I love that. And I think that quote resonates no matter what industry you're in. The better customer experience you can give and automate the stuff that really doesn't impact the business as much, so that our contractors can focus on selling. They can focus on actually delivering the best quality work time and time again, and leave financing, booking, leave those kind of low-hanging fruits to us to help them with that process. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ray, for joining us. This has been a really awesome conversation. And I'll let you get back to your day.
Awesome.
To learn more and book a demo, go to scheduleengine.com and you can speak with Ray and his team, and enjoy the rest of your week, Ray. Thanks so much for joining us. Go get a bagel.
Awesome.
Go get some coffee.
I will. Thank you both so much. Appreciate you having me on here.
Some
water, coffee, and bagel.
Thank you so much, Ray.
Hey, Doggo, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. It was chill. I did like the bougie thing instead of like being like a normal person and like spending time in the kitchen with my family, cooking things. Just straight went the route of like, oh, there's a restaurant offering a Thanksgiving meal for four that you pay like a stupid amount of money for, and it's all prepared. And I was like, yep, that's me. Uh,
Honestly, I can get down with that because I like to cook, but Thanksgiving food is actually to prepare is very expensive. Like you're looking at a turkey, that's what, if you're getting even like a normal size turkey, it's like at least $50. And then all the accoutrements, and
yeah,
it's like you're looking at probably $175 just on the base ingredients, not even counting the time, the tears, possibly the mother-in-law standing over your shoulder, the emotional toll that takes on you.
it's too much. It's too much pressure. I think I work hard all year round. Why do I have to work harder when I'm on vacation? You know what I mean?
No, that's fair.
Like I put all these hours in, and then now you're expecting me to put hours in the kitchen. No, thank you. I don't want to put my wife through that either. Like I don't want to
Fair.
put anybody through that. So I don't know. I'm team go get a family pack from a nice restaurant
Call it a day.
and just call it a day, baby. That's all you need.
And you're supporting a local restaurant, which is important. How did you find
Is
the
is
place?
is the is Chili's local? No, I'm just
Chili's, I don't know. Chili's has local employees working there.
no, I'm just kidding. It wasn't Chili's. I'm not gonna say who it was because I don't want to. I don't want to do
Yeah.
the shameless plug, and then they're
How did
like,
you find them? I guess how do you find a local restaurant that is open during the holidays like that?
I've lived here for like 20 years, so
Yeah.
I know who's open,
The local
or
stuff.
who's doing it. Yeah, yeah. Um, last year we went real swanky.
Oh,
I think it was like, yeah, I'm not gonna say the name because I don't want, but we went real swanky. This year we went like mid tier, right?
okay.
I'm gonna tell you right now, this year's was better,
Interesting. So the
and
mid tier. Why?
like it wasn't as expensive, but it was not. The food was better, and I think it's because, pardon the pun, this is more of their bread and butter, right? The mashed potatoes, the like
Yeah.
stuffing, the green. This is like what they do all the time, so they've perfected it. Where like the hoity-toity places, they're busy trying to put, like like a slice of like julienne carrot on top of a Brussels sprout and call it an entree. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? You got to execute at what you're good at. So if you're making mashed potatoes 365 years a day on Thanksgiving, those mashed potatoes are going to be very, very good. But if you only make mashed potatoes twice a year, you don't have the same level of experience.
You're not even in the same ballpark. Okay, and this kind of actually kind of drives us to the whole point of this podcast today. I had a horrible time getting this meal from this restaurant.
Really?
They were like, "Come by at 7:45," and I'm like, "What is that even?" Like, it was just a whole mess. I was sitting around waiting. You know what they could have used? A digital scheduling platform, and that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, it is interesting when you think about smaller businesses, they're busy, especially on Thanksgiving. My God, they're probably trying to expedite the food, make sure everything's hot, make sure everything's packaged. So the last thing they want to do and spend their time on is confirming when people are coming, answering a million phone calls, especially and we even talk about this in the podcast, like how hard it is to hire people right now. I'm sure they were shorthanded, which is like a whole different ball game.
Yeah, the guy was like, "Did you have this X package?" And I'm like, "I don't know. You're the guy. You're the person who would know. How would I? How would, my wife is the one who ordered it too, so I didn't even have the thing in front of me. I was like, I'm just here to pick it up for X, Y, and Z, but yeah, I mean that kind of goes into our conversation that we're going to have with Ray a little bit later in this podcast. Hopefully, not too far into the future now, but it. Our contractors that we talk to all the time are just they're inundated with work, right? They are inundated with having to deal with selling these things, selling the projects. They're inundated with setting up appointments. They're inundated with dealing with holiday vacation time, with people going off like off into the ether, people ghosting them, people not wanting to work for whatever reason. There's so much on their plates, and it's not just turkey and gravy. I mean, it's like real stuff, you know?
Yes.
And so today we're going to talk a little bit about like how automation can help you really, really get all of that stuff off of your plate so you can focus on what you're good at, right? And everyone's good at different things. Some people are good at putting roofs on things and on houses, and some people are good at selling, and some people are good at office management. But you can't focus on those things if you're just way too busy, right?
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, and I think you even touched on it, business hours for a small business, they don't exist. Your business is open 24/7. And especially moving into the holidays when we're going to see people's, hopefully, but their boilers maybe break, their heating systems break, and they're going to need contractors on call. It's important that you have, as a contractor, the ability to make sure you're scheduling those homeowners in a timely manner and getting back to them. Or else, they're just going to go on Yelp, unfortunately, and look for the next plumber, the next HVAC company, which might not have the same level of quality of service, et cetera.
Yeah, honestly. And for me personally, if I'm hosting for Christmas this year and something goes wrong, I need to know someone's going to be there. In trying to hunt, I mean, honestly, we talk about speed to lead on this episode. We talk about it a lot, but literally the first person to answer the phone has a way higher chance of being able to close a deal, right?
Fully.
And what if you didn't have to pick up the phone? Somebody could just set up an appointment right on your website, that's like totally like game changer for you if you don't have that. So, today we're going to be talking to Ray Clark. He's a co-founder of Schedule Engine. We're going to talk about automation. We're going to talk about removing barriers from your customers, how to achieve the growth that you know that you can. Because we all know that we can do better, right? I know I could do better. Sarah's pretty perfect. So I don't know, but most of us, I know that we can probably do better. So anyway, here's our conversation with Ray, and hope you enjoy.